It brings me no pleasure to compare what Israel's doing to what the Nazis did. But how can we not? Because you have things like ghettos, you have things like starvation, you have things like concentration camps, you have things like the planned, systematic extermination of people. Now, a lot of people talk about the banality of evil. There was a real cold detachment, industrialized murder of Jews and others during the Holocaust. What's so disturbing about what Israel is doing and the IDF is doing is that they are doing it with glee. And unlike the Nazis, they're not hiding it. And we know this because they document this. They document not just the war crimes, but they document their glee. You even have Israeli soldiers themselves comparing themselves to Nazis. One of them said, "I felt like a Nazi. It looked exactly like we were the Nazis and they were the Jews." They, of course, being Palestinians. Another soldier said it is justified and, in fact, essential to learn from every possible source, even, however shocking it may sound, how the German army fought in the Warsaw Ghetto. So there we have Israeli soldiers literally learning from Nazi tactics and comparing themselves explicitly to the Nazis and the Palestinians to the Jews. Ironically, according to the International Holocaust Remembrance Association definition of anti-Semitism, it is anti-Semitic to, quote, draw comparisons between contemporary Israeli policies to that of the Nazis. So I guess those soldiers are themselves anti-Semitic, according to this definition. Another point of comparison, although it's actually a point of departure, is the relationship between the genocide and public opinion. Now, the Nazis tried as best they could to hide what they were doing. And in fact, the biggest concentration camps that they built were outside of Germany. And they didn't do them in public places. And even though it was illegal to resist the Nazis, you did have some resistance from people who were fighting against what the Nazis were doing within Germany. In Israel, however, everyone knows what's happening. It's documented by legacy media, it's documented by social media, and yet the vast majority of Israelis think that the government is using either an appropriate amount of force or not enough force against the Palestinians. You even have young people dancing to genocide.